relationship be 50-50?
And who pays the bills?
Today we are talking about a topic that often sparks some heavy debates. Who should pay the bills in a relationship?
Should it be 50-50 split, or should the man take on the financial responsibility?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Heart Talks. I am Mayara.
And I'm Steph, and we are a married couple on a mission to support you in creating a love life filled with passion, intimacy, and connection.
Before we dive in, we wanted to hear from you. Head over to the comments and share your opinion. What do you think is the fairest approach?
Now, we believe there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It really depends on variety of factors like the stage of your relationship, the cultural norms, economic circumstances, and even personal values, right?
Exactly. It is not always black and white, but what we do want to explore is whether there is an ideal scenario that fosters a healthier and more thriving relationship. Is there a financial dynamic that sets couples up for success?
Exactly. So we approach this topic from multiple angles in this video and try to create some more clarity about it. We wanted to start with understanding of the masculine and feminine dynamic and kind of connect this to the topic of today's video.
Yeah, the reason why I believe that we are even having this conversation now and why it's such a polemic debate, who pays the bills, is the man the provider of the family, should women be home taking care of the children, is because there are different characteristics for feminine qualities and feminine energy and masculine qualities and masculine energies. This has been evolving over years and years. There were, some time ago where men, they would work, they would provide, and women weren't even allowed to work in many societies, but also women would be home, would be taking care of the children. So this is really, very old in our memories and in society. So yeah, but we also talk about men having masculine energy being more of energy of a provider, and women or feminine people, they have different characteristics that is more nurturing. So therefore, they're taking care of the children, they're breastfeeding, they're cooking. So this is very related to a feminine energy, to nurture, to also make a home cozy and beautiful.
So you're saying that this dynamic between masculine and feminine energies actually pushes the more masculine partner to feel more responsible for paying the bill.
Yeah, there is more of the heavy weights. One for the characteristic of masculine energy, but also cultural, and in some cultures more than others. But I'm also talking about the women. If that's their choice, they're gonna have children, and maybe 2 to 3, and that also requires them also going inwards a bit, and and being able to be home more, to take care of the children, to nurture the children. And some women, they really want to dedicate to raising their children, and then the man, he needs to take more of the responsibility. But we go through different phases in life. And the relationship changes. We are not always pregnant or with small children, so maybe we can get a bit more into these different dynamics and how that plays out.
So first moment in the relationship between two people when this topic becomes really big is actually just the first date, right? Mm-hmm. That they have. We usually go to some restaurant, we grab some drinks or some food, and we have a lovely conversation, right? Everything goes smooth. We finish our drinks and food, and then it's up to payment. The waiter comes, and who takes the wallet? That's always awkward, interesting moment, right? In the couples, the dynamic. And what do you think? Who should take the bill on the first date?
For me, if it's the first date, the man pays the bills. And I know that some people may disagree, but I never paid on the first dates. Don't come with 50-50 on the first dates. If you invited me on a date, because I'm not going to invite a man on a date, so he invited me and he's paying for it. So that's me. This is what I believe. I don't think women should pay on the first dates. But I know some people think that if you are not paying on the first, if you let the man pay on the first dates, I've heard these arguments. Women should pay 50 because then you are almost owning him something that he may get a wrong, the wrong idea, like, oh, she's letting me pay, she's interested, or something like this. To be like, okay, you are not paying for nothing for me, I don't owe nothing to you. But to that, I say that if the man is with this idea that because he paid, the dinner and whatever drinks, now I am entitled to, he feels entitled to me, then that says more about him than about me. Because I honestly had even many friends, guy friends, that never let me pay, and they never even tried anything. They don't feel entitled to nothing. So I really think it really says about the man. I don't think friends should pay. These are specific men that they just feel more comfortable, and that's how they were raised and what they're comfortable with. But I don't think a friend should pay for a girl just because they're friends. I don't think that. But I think if it's a date, he pays and he shouldn't feel entitled to nothing. Now, as it goes on, we're going to talk more about this, but that's my opinion. What do you think?
I also agree that men should pay on the first date, but I think the healthiest dynamic at this moment of paying at the end of the first meal or drinks together is if man gives clear signal that he's gonna take care of the bill, but women say, oh no, just a little, no, I can, just something to indicate that she was also, that it's not taken for as a norm that men must pay. This for me is usually a nice signal. Of course, I wouldn't judge if this doesn't happen or anything. I would be questioning then as we progress the relationship and this kind of behavior continues to repeat, right? Without even looking at the bill. These funny videos where it's like bill comes and
You go to the
you
bathroom.
just take a sip and turn your hand around. Then I would look at it as something that it's a little bit worrisome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the first date, for me, it was always like, it's nice, it's sweet, it shows me that there is some level of understanding of what partnership is. If a girl tries to pay, I would never let her pay. And I don't think men should split the bill at the first date. Of course, we are talking about the small bill, simple drinks or meal. But later on, as this couple progresses in their dating life, I would have something to say a little bit differently.
And also, if on the first dates, if for example, if the man doesn't have much money, because it can happen, right? We don't have to go to a fancy dinner, very expensive drinks. It can be many different things. It can even be an activity we do together where you're going to spend very little and you're going to actually have a great time. But it's not about something fancy. But to me...
But I think for this you mentioned, and it's a valid point. For example, if a girl would insist on going to some fancy place, then this dynamic changes. If you insist on going in a specific place you chose, then it's it would be kind of weird. Expecting that it's by default that man pays and not offering.
And to me, the man, I like if the man picks the activity. I think is also part of the masculine energy.
Taking the initiative, right?
The place. He can maybe give a couple options if he want to tell her, what have this or this, or he can just be straightforward and just ask, would you like to join me? But and then be ready to pay the date. So in this case, he's choosing an activity he's comfortable with the price it will cost. But so then as it progresses, let's say we are dating, not on a committed relationship yet, or maybe even if we are in a committed relationship, but we are dating.
Getting to know each other.
Getting to know each other. So then who pays the bills then? Then should he continue being the man, always paying for the bill, or should it be 50-50, or the girl helps sometimes? You kind of gave your opinion already, but what do you think?
Yeah, so for me, I would always try that I pay more, but if we continue doing activities frequently, once in a while, I pay 2 times, she pays once, would be some kind of ratio that would work with me. I guess this is also up to the preferences.
Yeah.
But there's also like the argument of how big is the expense that we are gonna take, because if we are deciding for a spontaneous flight to I don't know, other state, and there is a plane ticket involved, then it needs to be really discussion from both of us. Are we able to afford this? And then I would also expect that there is this 50-50 covering each other's costs. And something similar happened to you and me, right, where we were in the early stages of our dating relationship. In order to continue dating, possibility to continue dating, we had to be together, and this required significant investment, financial, from both sides. And as we didn't know each other that well, as the relationship wasn't that deep yet, we clearly separated it. We had created this joint budget, right, and we kind of stick to it more or less, right?
Yeah. If we are in this beginning stages of dating, or maybe even if you're dating for a year, 2 years, but after that it starts getting even more serious. But I think if possible, it's nice that the man is taking more initiative, but the woman is also helping and offering, and maybe she's paying for something smaller here and there. It all depends. If the guy is very wealthy and he really, maybe he does, he's very wealthy and he has more than he needs, and in that case, maybe he will always be paying. He will actually. And maybe, for example, the girl she doesn't make much money, and maybe the guy makes a lot of money. Then he can pay, when they go out and they're dating. But I think if that's not the case, I think both, can show initiative and help him, because it's also the interest of both being together and seeing each other. So the man goes a bit, an extra mile, but the women also cannot just be waiting. And also another thing as well, like if the woman makes a lot of money and she's dating a man that doesn't make much money, I also think in that case, she can also help more, especially if she wants to do certain activities that will cost a lot. And it can happen if that's a situation. I think that's okay, because maybe he doesn't have money and she has a lot and she wants to do certain things. So that's okay.
Yeah. Which in this case would very be hard for man, right? To accept that, and if he is not really in peace with this masculine, feminine energies, and not consider this as a threat to his masculinity, then it would be okay. But oftentimes it's really difficult for men to not see it as a threat.
It's a different, complicated dynamic if a woman is making a lot more than the man. It can be.
Yeah. And I think we both saw this from our own lives, from our own families, where the mothers would be the breadwinners actually in the relationships, in both of our parents' relationships. And in my case, it really didn't turned out well. It caused constant fightings, constant conflict, constant dissatisfaction, and it was a fuel for it. Unhealthy acceptance of the masculine partner, of the situation where he cannot be the main provider, right?
In my parents' relationship, for sure, it was my mother always made more, but then not even that. After they got divorced, she struggled in dating a lot, because she would never find men that were be interested in dating men that made at least the same than her. They always made less, And this was really hard because she wanted to travel, she wanted to do nice things, and either she would pay or she would just not go or go alone. So it was always a weird dynamic. And as a woman, I say, I do want to know that I married a man that is a go-getter, that he will, I don't want a man that will just settle for the bare minimum and not try. But it's okay as well that we have ups and downs in life, and maybe one time I'm making more, he's making less, or there is some health issue or something, and that's why it's a partnership. But in general, I would not want a man that is just, for example, lazy, doesn't want to work, doesn't want to be on my back, and definitely I don't want that. Another thing I want to mention before, during dating, yeah, I think it's understandable that one person, in this case a man, would not want or even should invest a lot before he's really sure, even if this woman is good for him,
Buying
loves
expensive
him.
gifts or
Yeah.
taking expensive travels on.
Yeah, giving her money, and it's like I think this can come after in a relationship where it's something secure, it's something solid. In the beginning, I don't think a man should just invest so much financially, and I don't think it's smart from the man. It needs some balance as the relationship progresses. As I trust this person more, then we are naturally more open, and now it becomes us and not anymore you or me, and just what we have is ours.
So yeah, this is then this shift from dating to the committed relationship,
Yeah.
where things evolve a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, and
Yeah.
exactly as you said it becomes more us than
Mm-hmm.
I, right? And as we go into this stage of committed relationship, some financial topics will arise naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna live together? Are we gonna travel somewhere bigger? Are we gonna take some major life decision about getting a job in another town, or
Yeah.
deciding to invest in some new project, which definitely is gonna take a lot of time of one person. But now, because it's a committed relationship, this becomes also a subject of the discussion and
Mm-hmm.
subject of joint mutual agreement.
Yeah.
So in this case, a lot of couples there I've seen in my surrounding a lot of different arrangements, and some that stayed the most, and the one that I think we as we felt that we went into the committed one, is a complete merging of the funds and finances, and it this is the common pattern that I saw that yields, let's say, like a healthy situation between the partners, where okay, now we jointly plan, we have budgets, we create budgets for different things in our lives, then we know, okay, we are being also responsible, it's our money. Yes, I'm making more, you're making less, but it's still our money, and we're gonna decide on how to spend it properly, right, on the mutual
and
satisfaction.
And then comes the question, right, or the topic of should is it better for a woman to be a homemaker and be at home and take care of the house, take care of cooking and eventually children, or should she actually be paying 50-50 for, or at least, or working and bringing some money home as well? There is a lot of debates, and some people believe the traditional way is healthier, other people believe no, women need to be empowered and make their own money. So to that, I think there is a trend on social media that is the stay-at-home girlfriends, and I think that for sure is a bit of a trap for women, because you are not married, so, and they're dating wealthy men, and so now they're with them, or maybe they're traveling the world with them, and they are stay-at-home girlfriend, and they make content about it. And I feel like if you date a man that is very wealthy and he's paying for your expenses, great, but you are not married yet. The relationship can end anytime, even marriages can end. So even if you are not having to pay rent and the bills, you should be actually working on something for yourself, building something you love, improving your skills or something that is for you and not just be a stay-at-home girlfriend. But then when we are married, I feel it depends of the stage of the relationship and depends on what each person is comfortable with. I do believe that if a woman wants to not work and be home and the man and the man is okay with that and she wants to take care of the house and cook and this and that, I feel like it's totally okay. There is no problem with that. It is healthy if that's what she wants to do. But in this day and age, and I speak for myself, for example, I see a lot of women too, we would be bored. We need some brain stimulation, some passion, some challenge. So yeah, even if I am not working and really having a salary, I still want to have it's healthy to have a purpose, to have something you work for you, something you are building for yourself. If you are not pregnant and taking care of small children, so it depends.
Yeah, I think it's a great privilege if the family can organize itself in the way that there is one parent being home with the children, taking care of the children, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of women, it's the pursuit of the career path is something that's really important. That's something that they feel fulfilled with, that they found their identity in what they work. It brings value to the community. So there should be also then the way to organize the partnership that they can fulfill it, this path. And then we try to find together men, women in the traditional relationships, what could be the way to take care of the kids in the best way.
Yeah, and it's really gets to be a choice for the couple if the woman chooses to be home and they're both okay, or if she really wants to work ASAP after having children. And it's a choice, but I think more than a choice, a privilege to even have this opportunity, like you're saying, because in a lot of cases, this is not possible. For most families, both need to work, and even then it's barely enough. So it is a privilege to be able to be home. I think it's great when we can dedicate to our children, if it's the woman, if it's the man, if it's a little bit of each, but when we can dedicate to raising our children. And some women and some couples do it beautifully, where they can balance, they have their children, they can still work in certain times where the children are doing certain activities. And I believe it's very challenging, but some people do it beautifully. And I know for me, my mother had to work. I was 3 months old and she had to work, and my dad as well. So, and I know how it was tough for me. And I had traumas later that I had to work on regarding abandonments and like this. I had always other people taking care of me. I was in I believe it's called kindergarten, from 3 months old. I had neighbors taking care of me, family members taking care of me, and that was really hard on me. So because of that, I hope I'm able to stay with my children for as long as possible. But I also believe it's choice, and if they're able to do both.
But unfortunately, in some situations, it is not possible, as you said, and this, let's say, economic situation dictates what needs to happen, right? And another big factor is also the cultural aspect that we must not neglect. In different cultures, right? We have different norms that people feel obliged to follow, and then this highly also influences who pays the bills, right? Who is the breadwinner, who stays home and takes care of the kids. And again, in this, it's really hard to judge. It's really hard to discuss about a different culture that you're not part of. But when we work with different cultures, we try to understand what are the norms within this culture, and to try to be empathetic, right? But also try to understand them, whether it is their heart desire to behave in a certain way that culture maybe dictates, or is it imposed norm that they integrated and it's defying their nature and making them unhappy miserable in some cases. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, at the end of the day, it really depends, right, on culture, on privilege, of financial situation, economy, and all of that. Because it's a privilege to even have this choice, and I do believe as well is these phases in life. Like maybe you just got married, is the first maybe year or two, and you're really building a life together, and you both wanna go all in, but maybe now you want to have 2, 3 children or more, and that may require the woman to dedicate more of her time to that. And maybe after the children are grown, we see this a lot where women dedicated years for the children, but as the children are growing, they started now wanting more, wanting something of their own, and they want to go out and figure out what they want to do to fulfill themselves.
In the terms of bringing home the bread, right? In this case, it's also completely rational that we don't. Okay, now the kids are grown and we are free to do whatever we want. We have time for jobs, and now we are back to 50-50.
Yeah,
which is completely unrealistic, unfair. Because also the big part of if this was the arrangement, women's life went on taking care of the household and the kids, and then of course it's gonna be a discrepancy between men's and men and women's earnings, and this should be reflected again in their way of organizing their finances. Right?
And a point that is important to mention is women's safety and choice, option to choose, because a lot of women that are against these women stay home and take care of the children is because either they hear from people or they have experienced situation where they were in a really bad relationship and they couldn't get out, or they got out and then they had nothing because, so it's definitely something to consider. But I do feel like even if the woman is not working, she still should be involved in the family finances. Exactly. She should still understand how much they're making. She should still be part of maybe budgeting, helping paying the bills, decision making, be part of, have her name in the bank accounts, and even understanding investments. And all of this is very important, so she knows where she's in, and she's not just letting the man take care of it all. She doesn't even know what's happening, and she's completely blindsided when something happens.
I think that's a big threat if the relationship dynamics goes into this direction where, okay, man is the breadwinner, woman stays home, man makes money, he decides about all financial aspects of their partnership. I even saw this situation where man would then decide the allowance that woman is having, in a month to spend on stuff that she wants, and it's terrible. It's so I don't know. At that point, I really felt like it's demeaning towards, I don't know if that's the proper word, towards the women. But the key here is, as you said, that even though there is only one person making the money, both persons decide on the financials in the household. So both are involved, they make the decisions together. I think we are doing it in a way that is working for us, and that's good. We have different income streams, and we combine them into the personal sheet where we then see what's our cash flow, right, of both of us, and decide on how best to utilize this money.
So at the end of the day, women need to be empowered and understand and have access to things. So if one day she wants to break up, or the partner wants to break up, she's not completely in the dark, and maybe all the money was in the business name, she doesn't have any part of it. She needs to know what's going on, because if you're married, there are laws that protect you, but as long as you're also aware and not just closing your eyes for everything. So that's really important. And at the end of the day, as we are coming towards the end of this video today, is really about what is your priority. If you're a woman watching this, what is your priority that you look in a partner? I see a lot of content online where women are telling other women, find a high value man, find a man that makes 6K, don't even entertain a six figure, don't even entertain men if they don't make up, to that six figure. But then they can get also in many troubled relationships because this is what they are looking for primarily, and they are not looking at other things that end up being a big issue. So what is your priority? Do you want a really a partner in life, someone that will respect you, that will honor you, that will be with you? So maybe you can build together, and maybe he's not there and you are not there and you want to build together. So what is really your priority, right? So thank you if you stayed here with us all the way to the end. Now share your thoughts and opinions as well. We would like to hear. Write them down in the comments. And thank you again for watching. We see you on the next one.